It's finally happening, folks. After numerous talks from the fans and from outrage of Mike Budenholzer's starting lineups, he finally decided to make a change this weekend, inserting Bradley Beal into the starting lineup, and he absolutely delivered, getting a season high in his game last night and helping the Suns propel in a victory over this weekend as well. So we're going to be diving in, looking at this recent performance from Bradley Beal, going over why he should still be appreciated as a Phoenix Sun, even if he is not the best fit with this team, and overall analyzing what went wrong with this team this weekend. We'll be discussing all of that and more on this episode of Suns Digest. I am Bruce Velez, and you guys have been absolutely fantastic. Like I said, keep saying it, showing your love and support on the channel over this last couple of weeks, which has been super appreciative. Sorry for the lack of uploads this weekend. I was at a Red Bull event in Boston on Saturday, and yesterday I had some work to do for my other job, but we will be getting the daily uploads for you guys this week and going into this weekend. So if you want to make sure you stay up to date on everything revolving around the Suns, this is the place for you. But without further ado, let's dive in and let's get into the news. Make sure to grab a snack. And over this weekend, there's been a lot of discourse over this Phoenix Suns team, as we obviously saw the very highs of the game on Saturday night and the very lows of yesterday's performance. But there is a bright spot in all of this, as like I mentioned, Bradley Beal has been a very, very solid addition for this Phoenix Suns team once he has been reinserted into the starting lineup. And this was something that fans have been asking for since before the trade deadline and a little bit after the trade deadline, with the recent performances of Tyus Jones, as he hasn't been the greatest starting point guard with this unit these last couple weeks, or in total this season, with the game versus the Houston Rockets where he basically cemented himself being in the doghouse, where he just got multiple turnovers and basically cost the game for the Phoenix Suns, as he was a liability on defense as well, with guys just attacking him left and right. We saw this recently versus San Antonio Spurs as well, and Mike Budenholzer had enough of it. You know what? He finally said, I'm done with this, ladies and gentlemen, and he switched some things up, because he put Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, Royce O'Neal, Kevin Durant, and Nick Richards into this starting five and switched it up. Took Tyus Jones out of the starting five and did what the fans wanted. You know what he got out of that? He got a W. Book, KD, and Beal versus the Bulls absolutely went off, as Booker had 29, 8, and 2, KD 27, 11, and 5, and Bradley Beal 25, 6, and 2 steals. And this was something that got fans very, very excited. Like we had mentioned and like we'd kind of broken down, the Suns have a tough schedule in this second half, and they have some easier games coming up. So losing to the San Antonio Spurs without Victor Wembanyama was definitely heartbreaking, but beating a Chicago Bulls team was very uplifting. It brought us back into that happy comfort zone where we felt, hey, maybe if we are able to get lucky versus a team like the Toronto Raptors and possibly get a sneaky win versus a Grizzlies team, which we held close to, very, very close last time we played them, then the Suns could be in these conversations for the playoffs, and we could be right back on to, being happy-go-lucky about our Phoenix Suns. But ultimately, last night, we were stricken with some disaster classes. The Suns once again lost to a Toronto Raptors team. No Jakob Poeltl. They shot absolutely lights out of the gym. Ryan Dunn barely played. Still running with Tyus, Grayson, and Mason Plumlee lineups, and a lot to go into on that as well, which we'll dive into a little bit later. But like I mentioned, we did see Bradley Beal hoop last night, and Bradley Beal got 30 points, 4 rebounds, 80% from the field in only 40 minutes, and he was absolutely the best player for the Phoenix Suns yesterday. Even though him and Devin Booker combined for 61 points versus the Toronto Raptors, they lost by 18. And it was a little bit close towards the end, but after a Grayson Allen 3. But the things that we know about this Phoenix Suns team is they lack defense and they lack any heart on that side of the floor. And it's clearly shown with their transition defense being viewed as ultimately one of the worst in the NBA this season, but possibly even one of the worst all time in NBA history, as it is that bad, as the Toronto Raptors are just easily able to score any basket in transition, as the Suns just look completely lost and cannot get a stop to save their absolute lives. It's ultimately what's put them in this hole. And when you look at a team that is shaped around Booker, Beal, Durant, Grayson Allen, Royce O'Neal, guys who need to, find the basket the ball in the basket to contribute and to, help out on that side of the ball. There's one basketball for 5 guys that need to do that. And that just goes once again to show you that the roster construction with this team is just not great. But Bradley Beal is absolutely hooping. He's had some injuries over these last couple of games, but over the last recent two, where he's been brought back into the starting lineup, 25 points and 30 points in back-to-back nights, which you have to respect 100%. Like I've said with Bradley Beal, he's not a bad player in the NBA. Is he worth that $50 million no trade clause? No, not in my opinion. But if Bradley Beal was comfortably making 30 to 40 million dollars, 35 to 40 million dollars, I think a lot of teams would value him across the league. And if he was even making 25 to 30 million dollars, even more teams would have Bradley Beal as a third option on their roster, as he can be that catch and shoot guy. He can create his own shot as well. He can be a little bit of a playmaker, and he can heat up like a microwave when it is needed, specifically paired up with some defensive wings and, a defensive point guard and maybe a big man that needs a guard to kick out to. He would be a perfect complement to a guy like Giannis Antetokounmpo, to a Domantas Sabonis, to a Bam Adebayo, similar guys like that. It's just that with this Suns construction of Durant, Booker, and all these other guys that need the ball in their hands, he's not going to be the most effective, and that's why when we saw him coming off the bench, we saw him to be in his best moments. But now with the Suns obviously needing to compete for the playoffs, as they don't have their draft pick, falling in recent games, they need to have some sort of shakeup. So Bradley Beal is the new shakeup in the starting lineup. And honestly, like fans have been asking for, including myself, I didn't necessarily know if it would change anything, but it definitely has. So I'm going to stay it with everyone right here with the full out chest that I was wrong. Inserting Bradley Beal into the starting lineup definitely is going to do something. And it's finally happening with this Suns team, and we're going to see them kind of get into this rhythm, get into this motion over these next couple games, hopefully, where they can strike some stuff. They got the Grizzlies coming up on this road trip, and then they're going to be going back home. And then when March hits, it's going to be very, very difficult for this Suns team as they take on teams like the Timberwolves, Nuggets, Clippers, Celtics twice, and many, many others across the top tier of this league. So they're going to need guys like Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant to be playing at their best, similar to what we saw in the Chicago game. But they're also going to have, the right team around them, the right players around these guys as well. And unfortunately, with the trade deadline being gone, they can't do any more roster construction. But hopefully, a guy like Cody Martin can get some playing time. Maybe we'll see a guy like Vasily Micic actually get to play for this Suns team, as he hasn't played for this Suns team at all yet either since he's arrived and he's been healthy. So it's been a little bit weird. Maybe we'll see some more Ryan Dunn minutes. But after the last couple recent stretch, I think that Ryan Dunn is most notably going to be just a teetering tool at this point. And unless something is told to Coach Bud to make him a mandatory piece of this lineup, he's not going to be used. But like I said, this isn't to complain about the Suns. It's to look at the brightness of Bradley Beal. And Bradley Beal has been very, very solid, not only to add to the fact of him being just a great player, but he's been very professional this season, as Eddie Johnson says, that Bradley Beal has been tremendously efficient this season. But not only just that, quietly and professionally has handled the negative media exceptionally well, as not only here on Suns Digest have we come out and said that, we would like for a trade for Bradley Beal, but a lot worse things have been said about Bradley Beal on social media and about his family and stuff like that in regards to his playing time with Phoenix. And I don't want to harp on that. Obviously, I think any negativity on Bradley Beal is just unwarranted. He's a great basketball player. Like I said earlier, he's not worth $50 million, not worth a no trade clause, in my opinion. But I do think that he is a top player, top third option in this league. He's definitely a top 60 player in the NBA, and I think he would be valued across the league on multiple teams if he was on a cheaper contract and or if he didn't have the no trade clause. Obviously, both of those things hinder his ability to really strive in this league, and playing on a team with the Suns, which once again have guys who need the ball in their hands, makes it very difficult. Some nights he can have the nights where he goes off, but ultimately I think regardless of if it's Bradley Beal on the Suns in the future or Bradley Beal on another team, I still think he'll be a successful basketball player next season. Just he might have to be in a different situation. But I want to know your guys' thoughts, ultimately what you guys think about this Suns team, as we've obviously been through the highs and lows throughout this season, and it's been kind of really crazy these last couple of days. But I want to know your thoughts. Like I said, we'll have more coverage coming to you guys with this Suns team, breaking down everything on Suns Digest. So if you want to make sure you stay up to date on everything, make sure to hit the like, make sure to hit that subscribe button, as we post daily Suns content here on the channel. And we'll be back live on Thursday as well, answering all your guys' Phoenix Suns questions. Once again, I'm Bruce Velez. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a great rest of your day, and go Phoenix Suns. Peace out, everyone.